Greenwood reaches an agreement with Valencia. Jared Branthwaite, have Manchester United pulled out that deal, or is it a negotiation tactic? Lindelof leaving and Manchester United pursuing other options at centre back. What is the latest Manchester United news? What is the latest Manchester United transfer news? News around Ten Hag and more. Well, we're going to dive into that in the next 10 minutes. So please do hit that like button. Of course, subscribe down below if you're new. And let's get into the news. I want to start with this story on Victor Lindelof just because it's a news story and there has been rumours of Victor Lindelof leaving, which I think is really important that we do sell Lindelof so we can get two good centre-backs in, which could be Todibo and Branthwaite. But it was said this: understand the Fenerbahce is indeed interested in Lindelof, with Manchester United also open to the sale of the 29-year-old that has a contract that remains 1 year. If Lindelof were to leave, it could mean Manchester United will sign two central defenders. Negotiations about Jared Branthwaite ongoing but difficult. Ligt remains a transfer target as revealed. They haven't given up hope on Lenny Euro. So for me, if I was to sell one of Lindelof or Maguire, it would be Lindelof because I personally believe that Maguire's the better centre-back. Lindelof's also on lower wages and easier to sell, and Lindelof's availability issues have been questionable recently. I think with Varane leaving, I think if you lost Varane and Maguire, you lose your two physical aerial defenders and you have your two weak defenders left. I also think Lindelof leaving for that sense because Varane's such an aerial presence makes more sense. I think it's important we sell Lindelof and we replace him with Todibo. We're just going to make sure we get a fee for him because the thing about Turkish clubs is they like to take the mick. They were bidding like 6 million for Fred, remember? They bidded, I think, like 7 million for Wan-Bissaka. For me, I think we could get 20 million for Lindelof, but I think we could take 15 million plus. If any other club gets 20 million for Lindelof, I think we take 15 million plus. If it's under 15 million, I guess he's got 1 year left on his contract, so we could sell him if we want just to get him out. But I think it is taking the mick a bit when they're putting 5 million bids in for Lindelof. We know we can get more than that, and that's the only problem. Will they take the mick? Now, United want to sell the player. United open to selling the player. Fenerbahce know that they can mug us off and massively bid under. They tried to do it with numerous players, and that's the one thing that we've got to be a little bit careful for. Now, I'm going to say, look, I think we'll get Branthwaite, and we'll talk about Branthwaite in a second. I'm not a big fan of Ligt coming to United, if I'm going to be honest with you guys, and I think Lenny Euro will go Real Madrid, but I do think we need to keep an eye on Lindelof's exit. Lindelof is open to apparently leaving if the right move comes up, because he's not a guaranteed start at United, and Manchester United are definitely open to selling Lindelof. He's one of the players that they do actually want to get out, which I agree with as well. Now, this is what was said about Branthwaite, and this was said by Fabrizio Romano, this came in about an hour ago. He said that Man United stopped concrete negotiations with Everton when they heard that Everton wanted at least 65 to 70 million. It was 70 million plus, it's now 65 to 70 million, so it has gone down, but he said Man United won't pay United tax anymore when signing players. And this is a message. For me, I really like Branthwaite, and I think Branthwaite's a brilliant signing. But if Branthwaite gets up to 55 million, we have to walk away. Because if we cave and spend 65 million on Branthwaite, every other team is going to know, okay, we can still mug them off. Ineos are trying to say we're different. We've got a different team now. We do things differently. So we have to do things differently. We have to walk away and say, you know what, we're going to go and get this centre back. Now, do I want the Ligt? No. Do I want Inacio? I don't know if he's what we need. But we need to walk away and get someone. Maybe it's Todibo. Maybe it's Bremer. I don't know. But it is, if I'm United, I go put a bid on another centre-back and scare Everton, because Everton need to sell by June 30th and Onana's in the Euros. Branthwaite's the best option of selling. We're the only team seriously in for Branthwaite. I want Branthwaite. I think he's a good player. But if it's above 50 million, we walk away. If we get Branthwaite for 50 million and he has 70 million price, it sends a message. And I think that's something United have to deal with. Now, I think United are putting this out as a game. I think United have stopped negotiations with Everton because they're saying, no, we're serious. We're not going to pay this kind of money for Branthwaite. And they've walked away thinking Everton will cave. The Muppeteers said deep down those at United know, because of Everton's financial position and the lack of competition for Branthwaite, they're in a strong position and believe they can get a deal done for 50 to 55 million. They won't bid anymore. I think 50 million for Branthwaite is a good deal. 55 million is pushing Everton's side, but I do think if you can get it about 50 million mark, it's a decent deal when you look at his age, when he's the next best domestic talent, but he's not worth more than 50 million base fee. You can take it to 55 million add-ons. He's not worth 60 million. I think for me, I would walk away at 50 million because there's a really good option in the centre-back market. There's some great options in the centre-back market right now that sort of smallly but slowly getting picked up. Like Diamonde is available for 50 million, and I think he's what a talent, do you know what I mean? So we'll have to watch the Branthwaite deal, but I hope the United are serious about walking away if it gets to crazy money. But I think Everton will lower. Now, one deal that is edging closer is reportedly Greenwood. It was said that Greenwood's departure is more advanced than Sancho, with United engaged with multiple clubs over both forwards. So that was one thing that was said by the Manchester Evening News. and that's believable. I think Sancho could be a loan with obligation to buy. I think Greenwood we can actually offload. Valencia and Juventus have put 25 million bids in. United edging out for 30 million because Getafe get a 20% sell-on fee, so I think they just want that a little bit over 30 million, which is fair. I think if Greenwood didn't have that whole scenario surrounding him, I think we could easily get 30, probably 40 million for Greenwood, but I think because of everything going on, it's going to be 30 million add-ons, whereas I think it could have been 40, 50 million had that not happened. It was also said that Dortmund held dialogue with both Sancho and Greenwood, and German and Italian clubs are keen in both players. So we do have interest in Sancho, we do have interest in Greenwood, and hopefully we do get rid of both, because I know that we do want Olise, and once they're off, we can push for Olise, who is sort of waiting out a little bit, but Chelsea are hot on that. Now, it's coming out from sources in Spain, and I don't know how reliable this is, that Greenwood has agreed personal terms with Valencia. Now, we do know from Tier 1 sources that Greenwood would actually prefer a move to Valencia than Juventus, which may surprise some people because Juventus is obviously a bigger club. But I think Greenwood was very happy in Spain and really liked being in Spain and learned a bit of the language, so I guess he doesn't want to start over again in Italy, which kind of makes sense. But apparently Greenwood actually was really open to the Valencia move, had agreed personal terms with them. There is rumours of that Greenwood wants the move, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. But apparently Greenwood has reached an agreement with Valencia as well. So hopefully Man United can reach an agreement with them if Greenwood wants to go as well. Or maybe that will prompt Juventus into putting in a higher bid, but I do know that they want to sell Sulio or Chisea first. Next story came out from Sky Sports, which links to what was said by Romano. United is discussing whether to go back in for Branthwaite. It's understood that Everton don't reduce the asking price. United will move on to other targets, which include Gay, who's been doing really well in the Euros, but now he's doing well in the Euros. Palace are definitely going to put Euro tax on him, especially because they may lose Eze and Olise, and I don't think they want to lose their third best player in the same window. So I actually don't think Gay is very realistic, despite being a good option. Lenny Euro, I think, will go to Real Madrid and Todibo. I mean, to be honest, I generally think Manchester United's best bet is a move for Todibo, let's be honest. And I think United know that that's quite an easy deal to do, and I think that's why they're pursuing everything else first, because I think deep down United are quite comfortable they can get a deal for Todibo over the line. It was said Man United are looking to sign at least one centre-back in order to replace Varane, while there is also a desire to add another if they can fund it by selling players. Lenny Euro is one of those candidates, but it would take a huge offer to beat Liverpool and Real Madrid to his signature, something United currently aren't in a position to do given the focus on Everton star Branthwaite. I know if we sell Lindelof for, like, let's say 20 million and we buy Branthwaite, we'd have the funds to go push that on a Todibo and a Lenny Euro. But I do think Branthwaite is the number one centre back we want, and then we'll push for other options. But I don't think we'll get Lenny Euro. I'd love Lenny Euro. I don't think we'll get Lenny Euro. Now, let's talk about the striker target, because I've got information that United have a bit of funds for a striker, a bit more funds than they like to say they have for a striker. Now, Rich Fay is saying that Ivan Toney and Jonathan David remain of long-term interest to the club, while they also could consider less established names such as Hoffenheim striker Maximilian Bier, who's actually at the Euros right now, 16 goals in the Bundesliga at age 20-21 last season, depending on how much they make from projected sales. Now, Bier has a 27 million release clause. I know that United have the money for a striker, but they don't want to spend crazy big because of obviously Højlund, and they believe that of his future going forward. But there's obviously Xerxes who we're interested in, Cunha we're interested in, Tony we're interested in, David we're interested in, B we're interested in. You know, I heard something that Man United were actually willing to pay Sesko's release clause when it was Sesko's release clause ended up being 55 million in the end. And apparently if Sesko had chosen United, they'd be willing to pay that release clause. That's what I heard, which says to me, well, United had 55 million there for Sesko, and they had money there, 50 million for Branthwaite. I think we got a lot more money than we say. I just think they're keeping that actual priority secret, bar Branthwaite, and I think they're going to get those priorities, and then the rest of the options depend on sales. Because Olise, as good as he is, isn't actually a priority, because DM, striker, and centre back are the three priorities. Olise depends on sales. Now, I want to talk about some other stories unrelated to transfers. Apparently, according to Jack Talbot, that Ten Hag impressed the club with his bullish determination to overcover Man City at Wembley. And he impressed me. Ten Hag's tactics are spot on at Wembley. Absolutely spot on. Some journalists tried to say that Ten Hag listened to Wilcox's idea of playing Bruno false nine, and that's why they kept him. Absolute BS report. Ten Hag's been playing false nine before Man United. Ten Hag been playing false nine before Wilcox came in. He did it the last couple of games. You know, the journalists are always trying to find a way to take the win away from Ten Hag, aren't they? But Ten Hag's tactics were spot on. Is the resilience he's shown in the fact that the day before, everyone was saying he was sacked. Everyone under the sun was saying Ten Hag was gone, he was sacked the day before. And he probably was, to be honest, sacked. Let's be honest, I think he needs to do a bit of a U-turn because he won the FA Cup. But the way that he won that game, beat Pep, deserved to win with everything against him. And obviously, Man City were the clear favourites was a big win as well. And it was said that the hierarchy are happy with how Ten Hag handled himself during the takeover process, as well as a number of off-field issues. I mean, look, the takeover process was awful. Ten Hag's had to deal with Ronaldo situations. Ten Hag's had to deal with Anthony, Sancho, all these kind of situations. He had to deal with the takeover. Is it Qatar? Is it Jim? Is he in the plans? Is he not in the plans? Like, he'd been at United 3 months, and they might be getting new ownership. They might be kicking him out. Since January, Ten Hag's been rumoured to be getting sacked, and he was almost sacked apparently before the Crystal Palace game. It's all been this big mess, and I think I'm glad Ineos didn't rush a decision because they had time to think it over and not go, Ten Hag's not doing well, we're going to go for Tuchel. But Ineos really could have dealt with that whole situation a lot better, and I think that Ten Hag dealt with it quite well because he also just had the media all over him, going in on him, looking at every excuse to hound him, and I don't think it was fair on Ten Hag. Anyway, we're starting to lag, so please do hit the like button. Of course, subscribe down below if you're new. That's all the Man United news in 10 minutes. Thank you for watching. Bye.